Good evening. Welcome to Orpheus. Orpheus. He was the poet, the very emblem of his art. Not the first poet, but for the Greeks, the greatest. By the power of his words in music, or the music in his words, or maybe his words as music, he was able to make trees dance, they say, and boulders skip around in meadows. The usual myth, and what other myth is worth that name but the myth that everybody knows? The usual myth tells us that his wife, Eurydice, was bitten by a snake and died. Orpheus went down to the underworld to fetch her back, and by the power of his song, charmed, song as charm, magic spell, Latin carmen, poem, charmed the beasts and bosses of hell enough that they let Eurydice return to life up here, as long as Orpheus did not look at her as she followed him uphill, or ever again. But he looked and lost her. The first opera ever composed, is that another lost art, was about Orpheus. And the greatest 18th century opera that Mozart didn't write was Gluck's Orpheus. Later in the middle of the play, you'll hear a tenor sing the most famous line from it. And Rilke, purest of poets, composed his final cycle to Orpheus, song singing to song. In the play workshop tonight, we've tried to understand something about the dynamic of the man and woman in the story. But first, to lead us in, we are to hear the music of music, the one that leads, teaches every other kind. David Annandale will play an Allemande by Bach, human breath strumming the lyre, impossible. The wood of the bassoon is the tree dancing. Then Peter Lacki will sing 3 songs by Adrian Elisha, songs to texts from the last centuries of that Greek world into which Orpheus, like Apollo before him, had come down from the north. And finally, we go to the outskirts of hell to hear the voices Orpheus sometimes hears and how he sometimes answers them.